Hey everybody, what is up? My name's Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice.
And today we're taking a look at the latest Marvel Villainous expansion, Twisted Ambitions.
And I am super excited to tell you guys about this because this is, I would say, the most unique Villainous in the Villainous series that we've come across.
I think so.
Each character is so unique.
It kind of just broke my expectations for how you could...
And I'm scared to say this, but the Marvel Villainous, because of this expansion, might slowly be ranking above Villainous for me.
It's my number one.
So, okay, well, let's dive in and see why. So if you haven't played Marvel Villainous before, or Villainous in general, it is a game where you take on the role of a bad guy and you are trying to complete their mission, and heroes are coming at you and all these other things. So you yourself each have your own personal goal and you're trying to do it before everyone else does. So in Marvel Villainous, you take on all the Marvel bad guys, and the designer actually says he thinks this is the most competitive version of
the most interactive for sure.
Villainous universe. Yeah. So in quote, Villainous fashion, we have 3 new bad guys coming onto the scene, and it does the same thing kind of where it's like popular IP and then some old ones coming in that aren't as well known, but
some crazy throwback characters.
Some crazy throwbacks. But the interesting is all 3 of them in this expansion is popular IP, but it pulls from all the old comic books and old comic book characters that people don't normally see. So we have Titania, and then we have Doc Ock, and finally, we have Kang the Conqueror. So, what are these characters' goals?
So Titania is kind of a fun one. She's the first villainous character who can personally vanquish people. So she has a strength that's going to go up throughout the game. She's training, she's boxing, she's doing the whole Rocky thing so that she can beat up She-Hulk by the end with a strength of 8.
Yeah, it's her figure. Her figure counts as the people, she has power. It's really cool.
Yeah. So how she gains power, she starts at 1, and how she gains power is by defeating a hero who has the same or greater strength than she does. So she can get help from her friends. But every time she beats one of them up, she's going to go up 1 on that track. So that's going to be her primary sort of way to do that. She has a couple other cards that help her gain strength as well. And when she gets to 8, she can go beat up She-Hulk. Now we also have Doc Ock, who he is the mastermind that he is. He's trying to complete these schemes. So if you played any version of Villainous, there's the condition cards that says when another player does this, I can play this and it does a thing. It's sort of like that for himself. So he says, when I do these things, I can just drop my scheme card out there. It's complete. What I love about him is it's a very much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 schemes complete. You can't make me go backwards. I just, as I'm going, how far I am. So his kind of really cool thing is that he also has tentacles where he can send his tentacles to another space to do another action from a different space. And then we lastly have Kang the Conqueror. So Kang is just breaking everything
on his head.
So first of all, he puts variants of himself in everyone's decks. So at some point you're going to draw Kang cards, and the second that those get revealed, they have to go out on your board at your current location. So Kang appears out of the multiverse, and see, Kang the Conqueror's goal, being the ultimate, almighty, strongest, most powerful Kang, is to replace those with robot duplicates of himself and just decimate those variants. So the way that he does that is he will deploy your robot duplicates, flip them over, and now he's conquered your location. What that means is Kang's mover can move to that location in your realm and play on your spaces, which means you may not have some of your spaces available to you because Kang is just there.
So the theming in this, it's really, really interesting how they tie in the mechanics to the theming. So Kang has these weird psychedelic time going craziness, multiverse.
All the rules are out the window.
All the rules are out. Things I've never seen done before, which I thought was really cool, is there's this one card where it's this melting face clock, and the idea is so everybody, not just him, everybody has to reshuffle the whole deck, put their hand back in their deck and reshuffle and draw out 5 new cards. So it's kind of the idea that he's rewriting time and rewriting your fate.
Universe.
Yeah, so he does stuff like that all the time, and it's so interesting. So let's dive in a little deeper. First, I want to say about Marvel Villainous in general, especially this one. It is for the more gamer,
yes.
a more advanced gamer. I would say Villainous, I think, is great for family weight, like you're new to games, like, and then you just want like a lighter weight thing. Like Marvel Villainous, it hits you in the face. Like you don't expect it to be as complicated as it is, and it has like a lot of stuff going on. And this just like takes it up like the next level.
Yeah.
So Titania, she pulls in that similar feel that as like where you're trying to get like bad guys onto your board, that some of the original Villainous does, but that since her figure does it, I feel like that's so cool. And at the end, like it's this weird mix, like because sometimes you will become so powerful that you'll be too powerful to count when your bad guys come out.
You have to try to beat small people first, not beat those 6s on your board. Save those for when you want to fight a 6 by yourself.
It's a weird balance of like, don't become too powerful, because I made that mistake. I became way too powerful, way too fast. I was like, haha, I'm doing awesome. And then I had a hard time gaining my strength.
Had a hard time finding tough people to fight.
Yeah. So, but a lot of like the cards from the multiverse, the designer has like tweaked it so that like they get more powerful if more fates come onto your board. So that is the gist on the character's objectives. And then in addition, what makes Marvel Villainous unique is that common fate deck. So in original Villainous and Star Wars Villainous, everyone has their own fate deck, which you get drawn out and it's like personalized to you. In Marvel Villainous, there's one common fate deck that gets drawn out. What's really interesting is that it's like packed with, sometimes you'll go to fate someone else, and it will be a fate that's like only targeted toward you, because there's some that only applies to you, or it's a fate that is like one of those common ones that all of a sudden everyone has to work together to try and achieve this goal. So it may not be a specific individual hero that's going to go target Jonathan's board. It could be now something I have to deal with. Yeah. And it's really this interesting thing where you have to like play with, like, it's really is like fate, like when you draw it out. And I don't feel like the first one was as memorable, but this one I felt like the Central Fate deck was like super memorable.
They're really fun. Yeah. I think that's what's so cool. I think with old school Disney Villainous, when you would fate somebody, that was a way to keep them from winning. It was a way of like, I'll just keep fating you until I catch up, and then like I'll eventually win. And it was the kind of thing where if everyone was really good at Villainous, it would spread the game time out. It could increase the game time by 30 minutes if you're just like going back and forth on those.
Especially if it's like you have to be winning by the time it gets back to you.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, but Marvel Villainous, it's kind of crazy, but what they did with the Fate deck was you only draw one card and you have to target someone. Some of the cards are targeted, actually the majority of the cards when you're playing with 3 or more people are targeted towards a specific villain. And so you have to decide, am I going to target at that villain, or do I really need to stop this person and I'm going to play a weaker card against them? It meant that half the time when a Fate got played on me, I'm like, I don't care. Like that doesn't actually affect my goal. And when those global events come out, there's an insane mode in the back of the rulebook where you keep all of the global events in place so they start to stack on each other. But what that does is it puts a clock on the game, because eventually those global events could limit you so much that like there's no way you can win, and then the other person wins. And so you really have to deal with those early and often, and focusing on that means you're not focusing on the other player, which means something happens.
Yes, it works in 2 ways, because it can put that block on it so that the game does end, you don't get into a stalemate, but it also, I feel like, can extend the time of the game, because like you're sending allies to go try and defeat this global event instead of like focusing on yourself.
Yeah, I think it just gives just enough distractions that players can get away with getting their victories.
Yeah, I would say that. So it like plays into like Titania. Titania has this card called Wedding Day, where all of a sudden she can't. It's like that she's busy with her wedding, so I can't. She couldn't use herself to defeat any of these characters. So I'm sending all these allies to try and go.
I actually really like that one, because it's like you're sending like the Absorbing Man to go to your wedding.
I know. Oh, Absorbing Man is like her.
Carl Creel.
It's her husband. So let's talk about their villains, or like their allies, like who is on their side. So Doc Ock has these really classic bad guys. Like who is in that deck?
Mysterio, Hobgoblin, Vulture, Kraven, just like classic villains.
Yeah, so super classic, like really well known. And then Kang and Titania have all these random people that
Who
I
is
am.
Baltag? I don't know who Baltag is.
He's like these weird cat-like things and like a 1970s mustache. Like it's like
the Anachronauts.
yeah, and it's just like all these characters. I mean, maybe they'll come up now in the new IP that like is coming out, but it's just like Absorbing Man and Volcana, and then there's like
I like Thunderstrike, the hero. Yeah.
What did you call him? Like off-brand Thor.
Yeah, Discount Thor.
Discount Thor. Like it's like, and then what is that? It's like the Big Man, or what's his name? Big
Who?
Man. The big
Growing
man.
Man?
Growing Man. So, but it's super fun and like all like it was fun to play around with them, and I think that's why I kind of had like going into this game, my expectations were kind of like neutral because I was like, oh, I don't really know these people. Like, we'll see if I like gravitate toward them. But the gameplay is intense and it's really interesting and really fun mechanics, which is what I liked about it.
This is the most fun I've had with Villainous in a long time.
Yes, and because it just really gets you thinking. It really refreshes, I think, Villainous for me, like the mechanics. I would say though, my one thing with it, it's not really a criticism, it's just be warned. There is a lot of card reading to be done, and a lot of stuff is going to be going on your board, especially with Kang, who is like, you are going to have like pulling out his cards onto your deck, and then all of a sudden he's over there. It's like a lot of like, oh, if this is happening, now you have to pay one more power to do this. If this is happening, then you can only do 3 actions, and then there's the global event. So it's a lot to think about, which is why I think it can, if you aren't paying attention, one of the flaws I see is if you can miss something and accidentally cheat.
I could see that happening, yeah.
Yeah. I accidentally cheated. But that's why I say that Marvel Villainous is like for the advanced gamer, and regular Villainous is like for more the casual gamer. Art direction on this is so good. Like we talked about with the latest Star Wars Villainous, like some of the decks were like mismatched and like some felt like picture art. This one is beautiful, like beautiful art direction, and those movers. We have some colors. Really upgraded like movers. Like they're closer to the quality that you see in Villainous, and like beautiful color scheme. Like Titania is like this bright purpley pink, and then Kang is like this blue, and all of his art's like this like real psychedelic like 70s art, and then Doc Ock with like his tentacles and like this
if you get the Target exclusive version, it's like chrome.
Oh,
it's like shiny.
It's super cool. So like really fun in the art direction. So we have talked about Villainous is like on our best board games for couples list. Marvel Villainous, I would say that it's best at 3 or more. I think 3 is like a good sweet spot for it. There's a little too much going on, and like especially like this one, I would say is this expansion in particular is better at that 3+. It's
just so much more fun to be more interactive with lots of other people, and like we still love playing Villainous at all these different player counts, but I think that's where it really shines because it's meant to be really interactive, and it's fun when you combine all those Fate decks together.
So definitely I think this isn't for a couple. I mean, you can play it at 2 definitely, but I think I'd recommend it higher. So why is Marvel Villainous to you? Why are you going to play that more now than regular Villainous?
It's just
because the Villainous
it's more
itself
competitive.
Is way more like currently more popular. Why is this one?
It's way more competitive. It's harder to stop people from doing their missions, and it's more focused on trying to actually complete your own, and I think it has proved to just have more interesting decisions, I think, turn to turn.
Okay, I agree. I'm torn because Villainous, I think the theming is always going to be closer to my heart. Like I just feel I'm a lot more connected to those characters, but from the mechanics and like more of like a deeper game, I think I am going to play Marvel Villainous more. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm really excited where Marvel Villainous is going. We also played a 4-player game where we tied back in Venom from the little mini expansion that came out. Oh, this reminds me. So one thing they've been doing with Marvel Villainous is on the back of the rulebook, they have a spoiler for the next Villainous that's coming out. So we knew, like, okay, with the first one, we knew Loki was coming out. And then on the back of Loki, it had a picture of Doc Ock. So we knew Doc Ock was coming out. Well, then I cue everyone being confused when Venom comes out instead.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, interesting. Are they not doing the Doc Ock thing? Well, there is no villain on the back of this Marvel Villainous.
So is this it? I don't know.
I don't know what's next for it, but If it isn't, I'm happy where it's at.
So we don't really know if this is the end of the Marvel universe because we've been given those clues before. Now, like Venom didn't have a rule book, so it's kind of like, was it supposed to? I don't know, or maybe. So who knows? Yeah. Like, but if you guys are wanting there to be another one, who do you want to see in the next expansion? I'm really excited with the ideas going on there, like with all the Villainesses coming out, to be able to see that they're still coming up with fresh mechanics, like fresh ideas, fresh art. Like this just felt, I don't know, everything about it felt fresh.
Super fresh.
Yeah. So I highly recommend Twisted Ambitions. You as well?
100%.
All right, cool. So you can pre-order that now. So I'll leave the link down below where you can go and check out this brand new Marvel Villainous. I'll also put links down below to any other reviews we've done on all like the Villainous games, including the Loki expansion, which you can check out as well. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can know whenever we put out a new video. And we'll see you next time.
Happy playing.